Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.
Picture this. You're at an after-work event. Someone asks, "What do you do for fun?" And suddenly, your mind goes completely blank. Like, you literally forget every hobby you've ever had in your entire life. Sound familiar? I'm Marcus, and if you've ever had that moment of panic, this episode is for you. I've got Sarah here with me today, and I'm really excited because she's going to share 7 hobby conversation starters that actually make you memorable and help you build genuine connections. Sarah, thanks so much for being here.
Marcus, good to be back. Let me put this into perspective for you. 68% of people say they remember colleagues more for their hobbies and personal interests than their work accomplishments. Yet only 12% of workplace conversations actually explore hobbies. So there's this massive gap between what people remember about you and what we actually talk about.
Wait, 68%? So hobbies are more memorable than actual work?
Completely. And there's neuroscience behind this. When you share a hobby or personal story, your brain activates the medial prefrontal cortex, the same region that fires during social bonding. Work talk activates analytical regions. Hobby talk activates bonding regions. They're literally different brain states.
So when we talk about hobbies, we're bonding at a deeper level?
Exactly. And that bonding leads to 52% higher relationship quality. People who know your hobbies trust you more, remember you better, and collaborate with you more effectively.
Okay, so tell me, why is this such a big problem? Why don't people just bring up hobbies more often?
A few reasons. First, there's this idea that hobbies aren't professional. People think, I'm at work, I should keep this work-focused. But that creates distance and inauthenticity. Research from Gallup shows only 23% of employees feel they can be authentic at work. That means 77% are wearing a mask. And hobbies? Hobbies are the easiest way to break through that.
So people are hiding who they really are?
Exactly. And it's hurting them. Sharing hobbies increases relationship quality by 52%, reduces stress by 43%, and even boosts team creativity by 54%. But most workplace cultures don't create space for these conversations. So people default to talking about quarterly reports and project deadlines, which is boring and forgettable.
So what's actually happening when we talk about hobbies? What's the psychology?
Okay, so there's this thing called autobiographical memory. When you share a personal story or hobby, you're activating memories that are tied to your identity, who you are, what you value, what brings you joy. And when you share that with someone else, it creates what researchers call a shared autobiographical memory.
So you're basically letting them into your world.
Exactly. And here's the powerful part. People who engage in leisure activities together, or even just discuss them, show 34% better memory recall of each other. You're literally more memorable when someone knows your hobbies.
That's incredible. So hobbies make you stick in people's minds?
Completely. And it goes both ways. When you ask someone about their hobbies with genuine curiosity, they feel seen and valued. That creates trust. And trust is the foundation of every strong professional relationship.
All right, so what do most people get wrong? Give me an example of a bad hobby conversation.
Okay, imagine you're at an after-work event. Someone mentions they hike on weekends, and you say, "Oh, cool." And then you immediately pivot back to work talk. Like, "So anyway, how's the Johnson project going?"
That's pretty common, right?
It is. And here's what happens. The other person feels like you don't actually care. You asked a surface-level question, got a surface-level answer, and moved on. No connection was made. No bonding happened. You both walk away feeling like it was just another boring work conversation.
So that backfires?
Totally. The research shows hobby conversations need at least 3 to 5 minutes to create real connection. Quick pivots signal that hobbies are off-topic interruptions. But when you lean in and ask follow-up questions, everything changes.
So what should they do instead?
Instead, you'd say, "You hike? That's awesome. What's your favorite trail?" And then you listen. Really listen. And then you ask, "How long have you been into that?" Or, "What drew you to hiking?" You're showing genuine interest, and people light up when you actually care about their interests.
Oh wow, that's so different. So you're giving them permission to share more?
Exactly. And here's the thing. Follow-up questions increase conversation length by 4 times. It's the difference between a 30-second exchange and a 5-minute conversation that actually bonds you.
Okay, so what's the solution? How do you actually start these conversations?
So I've got 7 conversation starters that work really well. The first one is the most direct. What do you like to do outside of work? What keeps you sane?
That's pretty straightforward.
It is, and that's the power. You're giving them full permission to be personal, no ambiguity, and about 78% of people respond with a real hobby when you ask this way. Compare that to vague questions like, "What have you been up to?" which people usually answer with, "Not much."
Can you give me that phrase exactly? How would I say it?
You'd say, "So, what do you like to do outside of work? What keeps you sane?" The second question adds a bit of humor and shows you understand work can be stressful. It makes the conversation feel more real.
What's another starter?
The second one is what I call the passion project opener. You'd ask, is there something you're genuinely passionate about outside of work? Or, what's something that makes you lose track of time?
That's deeper.
It is, and that's the point. You're not asking what they do to pass time, you're asking what they care about. And passion creates energy. When someone talks about their passion, you see them light up. Their voice changes, their whole demeanor shifts, and that creates an 82% success rate for meaningful conversation.
That's a good phrase, lose track of time. Is that common in business English?
Yeah, lose track of time means you're so engaged in something that you don't notice hours passing. Native speakers use it all the time when talking about things they're deeply interested in. It's a great way to ask about someone's passion without sounding too intense.
Give me another one.
The third is the creative expression angle. You'd say, what's something creative you do? Even if you don't call it art, we're all creators somehow.
So you're framing hobbies as creativity.
Exactly. And this works because it normalizes all types of creativity. Coding is creative. Cooking is creative. Gaming is creative. It gives people permission to share things they might not consider artistic, but are still creative outlets. And this approach has an 85% success rate for deeper personal sharing.
So you're opening up the definition.
Right. And here's the key. You ask, what drew you to that form of expression? And suddenly you're not talking about the hobby itself. You're talking about why it matters to them. That's where real connection happens.
What about people who are more social, like they do group activities?
Great question. That's starter number 4, the social butterfly discovery. You'd ask, do you do any group activities or clubs? I'm always looking for communities to join.
So you're signaling you might want to join them?
Exactly. And that's powerful. You're showing genuine interest in their world, not just asking politely, actually considering participating. And when you ask, how did you get connected to that group? Or, what's the community like? You're tapping into their sense of belonging. This approach has an 88% success rate, and people will often invite you to join.
So it can lead to real action.
Totally. And invitations create the strongest bonds. When someone invites you into their hobby community, you've moved from colleague to friend.
Give me one more, something that goes deeper.
Okay, this one's my favorite. It's the values reveal approach. You'd ask, what hobbies tell you the most about who you are? Like, what do you do that's the most you?
Wow, that's intense.
It is, but it works. This question asks them to be introspective. You're not just asking what they do, you're asking what their hobbies say about their values, their beliefs, their identity. And this creates a 93% success rate for transformative conversation.
For our listeners learning English, what does introspective mean?
Introspective means looking inward, examining your own thoughts and feelings. When you ask someone an introspective question, you're asking them to think deeply about themselves. In business contexts, introspective questions help people clarify their values and motivations.
Got it. So this is the deepest starter.
It is. And you follow up with, why is that so important to you? And suddenly you're having a conversation about values, not just activities. That's where lasting connections form.
What about people who worry they're being too personal? How do you know when it's appropriate?
Great question. Here's the thing. After-work events and networking situations are specifically designed for personal connection. That's the whole point. If you're only talking about work, you're missing the opportunity. The research shows that teams with hobby discussions have 31% lower stress levels and 54% more creative solutions to problems.
So it's actually beneficial for work?
Completely. When you know someone's hobbies, you understand them as a whole person. You see their creativity, their dedication, their values, and that makes collaboration way more effective. People who feel known at work are more engaged, more productive, and way less likely to burn out.
Before we wrap up, let's recap the key terms we talked about today.
Sure, the main ones were lose track of time, introspective, light up, and lean in. Lose track of time means you're so engaged that you don't notice time passing. Introspective means examining your own thoughts and feelings deeply. Light up means to become visibly excited or animated about something. And lean in means to show genuine interest and engagement in what someone's saying.
Great. So our listeners can use these terms when they're having deeper conversations at networking events or building authentic workplace relationships. So the big takeaway here is stop avoiding hobbies at work. People remember you 68% more for your interests than your job title. Use one of these 7 conversation starters, ask genuine follow-up questions, and let people see who you really are. Sarah, what's the one thing you want people to take from this?
Stop hiding at work. Only 23% of people feel they can be authentic, and that's a tragedy. Your hobbies reveal who you are, what you care about, and what brings you joy. When you share that, people trust you more, remember you better, and actually want to work with you. It's not unprofessional. It's human.
Here's what we want from listeners. Try one of these conversation starters this week. Pick one that feels natural to you. Use it at an after-work event or coffee break, and notice how people respond. Come back and tell us what happened.
And if someone asks about your hobbies, share genuinely. Don't downplay it or deflect. Let them see you.
All right, next time we're tackling something really powerful. Compliments. Specifically, the compliments that actually work versus the ones you need to retire immediately. You know those generic good job comments that just fall flat? We're breaking down exactly what to say instead so your compliments actually land and make people feel genuinely valued. Trust me, this one's going to transform how you recognize people.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Honestly, most people have no idea how much impact a well-crafted compliment can have. Can't wait to dive into that.
Same here. Sarah, this was wonderful. Thank you so much for all the great insights today.
Absolutely, Marcus. And everyone out there, pick one hobby starter from today and try it out this week. You'll see the difference right away.
Yes, do it. Take action. And we'll be back next time with more. Until then, keep those conversations going.
See you soon, everyone.
Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.